no lie. Resonating, vibes in, feeling good. Everything but vibrating. I am at peace. I am at peace.
Who needs facts? Just, facts just get in the way of conversation as far as I'm concerned.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. So I now identify as a Scottish man. No, I'm joking.
I don't think you would last very long.
No?
No, they're cold, man. You'd go blue. Yes, I'm telling you. You'd end racism by just going blue. Don't know blue. Oh, they hate blue. They're like Smurfs have arrived. So my thing this week is about how we're going to have to allow these poor Afghan people fleeing tyranny and terror. We're going to take in 50,000 of them, and it's awful what's happened. And hang on, last week we was trying to sink boats with migrants coming across from France, and this week we're encouraging them to fly in from Afghanistan. So what does this prove? Air travel, that's what it's all about. Air travel. It's a different status of migrant if you come on a plane.
For real. For real.
I can't get my head around it at all. The same paper, I think it was the Daily Mail, which was talking about these migrants coming over. This week's going, we've got to help these poor people who are victims of the Taliban.
Yeah, you say you don't understand it. It's like, I suppose, a style over substance, isn't it?
I'll tell you what we should have done in Afghanistan, since you ask. This is what we should have done. Once we invaded and we liberated, we should have started doing Ryanair flights, okay? I'm telling you, a month after Ryanair flights start landing there, we got Witherspoons and Poundland. The Taliban ain't got a look in.
Tesco Express.
Radical Islam cannot compete with 99 pence for 3 green scouring pads for a saucepan. It's not going to happen. That's where I should be in charge of foreign policy. Right.
But you have to answer your phone, John, if you're in charge of foreign policy. You see that? My mum was on the beach, apparently. It's like our person to deal with them things.
Shocking. But I told you when I went to Afghanistan. Right, yeah, so I went to Afghanistan to entertain troops. And our troops, not the Taliban, they don't pay. And it's tough audience, man. Just clink, 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 clink. So again, for the benefit of people watching or listening, this is just my views and do not represent the future MP for St Albans, Jonathan Prince. So I'm out there, right, and we've been out there. We're out there for about 12 days, and it's about day 7, and we was in this little place, Kandahar, and where the base was, it was kind of in the middle of town, and to get to the base from the airport was 1 mile. They called it Murder Mile, and we went in a convoy, and we had to have bulletproof jackets, and it was helicopter escort and all the rest of it. Right. Anyway, when we were there were some Afghan locals who had little shops inside the compound, and I kind of said hellos and that, but you weren't allowed to talk to them because we were told that any information you give them they could use. So like, oh, what does your mother do? She's a cleaner. Aha, and then straight on to Taliban HQ. His mother is a cleaner. Go and blow up the school. It's that nonsense, hypervigilance, right? Mm-hmm. So I got chatting to one of the guys, and I was saying, where are you going? He said, I'm going up. I'm on lookout tonight, lookout duty. I had to go up on the roof and do the lookout. So I said, can I have a look? And he went, well, you can't come on the roof, but you can get to the door and you'll be able to see. I went up to this door and it had a little window in it, and there were sandbags, around the edge, and there was like a gun, and there was a couple of observation points. Anyway, I was going, I'd love to go out there and have a look. And he said, well, we'll see, right? And then the next day, I'm going, like, can I come out and have a look? He goes, well, we've had a word, yeah, and you're okay to come out and have a look, but we're going to have certain precautions, right? When you're going to have wear proper like bomb suit. They put this mad heavy suit on me. And they said, what we do is, when we go out there, when we get the all clear from the sentry that's out there, you open the door, you crawl on your belly, along the wall, along the sandbank, into the observation point, and then you can stand up. I'm like, okay. And he goes, and then when you're standing up, you can look, once we get the all clear, you can look through the slot for 15 seconds, and then you've got to come away because they've got snipers and it's dangerous. So I'm like, okay. All right. And they're like, you sure you want to do it? I'm like, yeah. And there's a few of them. And I did this. I put the suit on, I opened the door, crawl on my belly to the corner, crawl along the sandbank, crawl into the observation point. And then the sentry goes, okay, now. And I stood up and I quickly looked. And there's kids playing football. I'm like, and they were pissing themselves laughing. I was going, what the fuck? What's going on? He goes, You can take your hat off, take your goggles off, I took it off, I had a look up there, and there was kids playing football. There was some people just going about the business, walking up and down, chatting, little market stall and all that. I said, "What? I thought I could get shot." He goes, "No, gonna shoot you, mate. You're fine." I said, "Well, what's it all about then?" They're like, "Well, we don't know, but got to do something to stop us getting bored." And then that's when I realised the stupidness of it all, just pure stupidness of it all. Then they had nightclubs, they had bars, they had restaurants, and we went and just destroyed it all.
Raw.
But
There is a couple of parts in that story though where I did think to myself, there's certain things, like, I don't know, man, everyone's the same, but everyone's different, aren't they? Like, I don't know why you were wanting to go out there and have a look. I don't know what, how curiosity got you that hard.
Come on, I could do that.
I went to see some friends the other day and there was a storm, right? Like, we were on the coast and there was a storm coming and they were like, "Oh yeah, let's go and sit on the beach and like watch the storm," yeah? And I was like, "Oh, nah, let's not do that." Like, and they were like, you know what I mean? Why would you do that? Do you know what I mean?
Where were you?
In Loo, in Cornwall.
Yeah.
And we went out there, and I'll tell you now, it was one of the best experiences ever to see all the like lightning and all that stuff and that.
Yeah. But that's on the beach.
Yeah, it didn't actually come to us.
It's just when you see them people walking on the sea wall in a hurricane, you go, "You're meant to die, mate." That's just pure stupidness.
Yeah, but yeah, storm chasing, man. You know when you see storm chasers, like, that's a different breed, there, isn't it?
There's something wrong with them people. It's the same with firefighters. The building's on fire, mate. Run away. No, we're going to run into it.
I don't know. It feels like there's more of a reason for the firefighter.
Nosiness. It's because they're not plumbing that
You
day.
can't say that. That's what drove you to want to look out in the thing.
Yeah, but there's no flames, was there? There's no flames.
Yeah, but you didn't know there weren't flames. It could have been bullets.
Yeah, no, to shoot me. Even though I did have a big blue hat on and a big blue bomb-proof jacket, whatever you call it.
Is blue the colour to like say you're not a bad
Yeah,
man?
that's meant to be. Don't hurt him. He's not a soldier.
See.
But obviously, when my missus found out I was insured for £1 million, she's ringing up the Taliban going, "Listen, the fat one, the noisy one, shoot him first, but do it in the head. Don't push him around in a wheelchair."
Boy.
Mate, what's going on with you today? You got like some sort of amnesia. You know what? I think you've had some afternoon delight, haven't you? You've had some loving. You've got that post-coital like. Mwah. You got that, or you had like a big sugary meal about an hour ago. It's one or the other. Let's put your views in the comments box. Do you think Johnny's had his balls emptied or his stomach is full? His belly full and his bile empty. Which of these theories is the most appropriate? Put them in the box.
Put it in the box.
Put them in the box.
Oh mate, I'm not even going to bait myself. I'm going to bait myself. No, I'm not going to bait myself. Anyway, so tonight, King's Head.
King's Head tonight, brilliant, really good. And my mate, it's his birthday, and Pete, and he is going to come along with his missus. And do you know, this is another thing. I felt bad that I couldn't get them guest tickets, and I hate people paying. If they know me and they come see me, I hate the fact that they have to pay to come see me.
But downstairs at the King's Head, it's just like everyone pays.
Yeah,
unless you're out.
but it's a fantastic club, and it'll be a great gig, and I'm really looking forward to it. And then tomorrow, best of all, going on a murder mystery weekend.
See, now, mate, I don't know why I'm beating around the bush. Certain things like storm chasing and that, I ain't really see a black man be doing. I ain't really see a black man go on no murder mystery weekend. Maybe it happened. I'm just saying, of all of the black people that I know, none of them have ever said to me, "Oh, do you want to come storm chasing?" Or, "Oh, do you want to, like, come on this murder mystery thing?"
And there's a reason why black people don't want to go on a murder mystery
Ghost
weekend.
house, all them things.
Yeah. Come on. What's the reason? Why won't you, as a black man, why wouldn't you go on a murder mystery weekend?
Because I'm not into them things.
No, because you're going to be the first suspect. As soon as someone's dead, they're going to go, "It was a black man." Either that or you're going to be the victim.
Yeah.
Again, if you are offended by any of my views, please understand I was brought up in the 1980s and I'm not of this world. It's going to be you. Right, murder mystery was the black geezer, wasn't it? It's him. Hang on, we haven't told you what happened yet. Yeah, but it was him. Police are already taking me in for questioning about other things. That's how it works around here.
You just said brought up in the 1980s. I think that sparked my mind to think. You know when people say they're an 80s child, yeah, or a 90s child.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? Because I would say I'm an 80s child because I was born in the 80s. But someone said to me, "Nah, it's when you were going to the pubs and that."
Raised after kind of age 10, sort of your formative years, really. When was your, so you go like people, was it like the millennials and Generation Zs?
Yeah, but what are the millennials then? Are they people who were born in the 90s or people who were born in the
So yeah,
zeros?
and there's Generation Z who are the next lot. So it's like we were brought up without the internet, and so we never had like 24/7 instant porn at your fingertips. We had a Littlewoods catalogue, and that was it. So and an imagination. Oh, toasters! Right. So here's the thing. So obviously our perception is different, isn't it? Reality. Like I could say to you, Murder Mystery Weekend. Well, it's a black man. It was him that did it, right? Now you couldn't say that. My daughter would right now apologise to you and make me write you a letter because she's from the 21st century. And sometimes when she like. So here's an example. So my mate is family St. Lucian, right? We went out for the day with my nephew, who's a white middle class boy. He's done very well for himself, and he was horrified by me and Lenny's conversation. So, for example. Lenny was objectified women. And little Stevie was going, it's all well and good you're looking at her lustfully and leeringly, but do you ever think she might be intimidated? And Lenny was like, nah. Why would she be intimidated by me? I've got a big smile on my face. And if anything, I'll go and show her that I'm not intimidating by putting a move on her. He went, no, now you're actually crossing boundaries with acceptable behaviours. I'm like, okay. And it was just it was a very interesting.
I see the same thing the other day, man. Like at the jazz cafe, it bothered me, man. Like a dude, and I don't think he was intending to do anything wrong, but the way that he and where he touched the waitress, I weren't feeling it. You get me? I wasn't feeling it. I had to say something to her. I had to go and say to her, like, I see that, and I don't think that's on. And I felt I had to apologise for my man, and felt like that's the same as like when something racist happens, and my non-racist white friend say to me, oh, "I'm really sorry."
No. Well, and who was this man?
Just like a punter who was at a table with his fam, like with his wife and
when did you touch her?
Well, where I personally wouldn't touch someone who wasn't my missus. I wouldn't even touch someone on a first date. I wouldn't even touch my missus down a first date.
On the crutch, on the coochie.
No, like side of Batty and Batty.
Yeah.
But it's not like...
See, my thing is, don't touch anyone anywhere, and then you don't get to them. So I have really funny dilemmas all the time. So my friends' daughters, I don't engage with unless I'm at their house, right? I won't engage with them. So at the moment, a good friend of mine, their daughter's 18. I'm helping her get an apprenticeship, and I won't talk to her direct. I talk to her mum, and then her mum, and she'll go, "But uncle, what are you doing?" I'm like, "It doesn't matter. I'm not doing it." And even if I get an email and I email the child, I include her mum into the email. Mm-hmm. And then when we've been asked to come up to a meeting, I'll go, "Well, look, your mum's got to come. Your mum's working." Well, then we ain't going, because I will not have anyone intimidated or threatened.
But the point I'm making in this situation was, I don't think the intent was in any way like, or maybe he didn't even notice it's from a different era that you would behave like that. Enough for me to see that, and it bothered me enough to say it now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and to go and speak to the person, and I actually wrote to them and said like that.
But hang on, so you went from like noticing it, apologising to the waitress, and then writing a letter.
Email. But that's a difference in, again, isn't it?
And have you started you're so middle class. I know. And when does the boycott begin? Boycott the Jazz Cafe!
No, man, it's not like that. It weren't no one did anything wrong. No one at the Jazz Cafe did anything wrong. I don't believe anyone at the Jazz Cafe did anything wrong in any way.
What did you put in your email?
I just said like that I thought that the waitress was cool. Like, as in she was really good with us, the way she served us, and that was really, really cool. That I noticed the guy...
She served us really well, and I didn't even need to touch her arse to thank her. What did you put in an email?
I just said, like, make sure you're there for your peeps, because there was a moment that I spoke to her about in that I felt a guy touched her inappropriately. And true say, I don't think people should have to handle them things, especially not in 2021.
And was she appreciative of your...
I spoke to her before I sent any email. I didn't speak to her and say, I'm going to send an email.
This is terrible. No one should touch you. Right? What? Not touch my waitress. What did you? Was she all right? Was she supported?
Yeah. And said like, unfortunately, it happens way more than you'd realise. And actually, she said like it happened so quickly. But now you say it, yeah, it wasn't on, but because it happened so quickly. And to be honest, it probably happens more than you'd realise. I was like, rah, maybe not there, but I mean, in general, we don't see this, bruv. It's like when I talk to you about black-white situations where after the football and things that were going around and flying around and that, you wouldn't necessarily see them because they're not necessarily directed at you. Do you know
Well,
what
you're
I mean?
saying that because I'm not a sex pest, I can't spot the signs in other men.
Well, I didn't want to see that. Do you know what I mean?
back-
Obviously.
Backtracking there. You're going, yeah, I know. I
Oh,
was
no,
do
no,
that.
of course you can see the signs in other men, man. I'm not saying you wouldn't see it. I just didn't expect to see it.
Certainly not a £17.50 for a ticket.
Unfortunately, though, bro.
I
You
could
say
go to
that.
Oliver Witherspoon.
Unfortunately, I can imagine that the behaviour would probably become more the more expensive the ticket to a point. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
I know,
people
mate,
feel
listen.
like entitled
I was a
to.
waitress, and she would say that the worst culprits weren't the punters, it was the other staff.
Raw.
Yeah. Them things still go on, but it's about, should you have said anything to the bloke who did it?
Yeah, I should have. But at that moment, I knew that I would. At that moment, I knew, yeah, that I had to 100%. I would be seen as the aggressor because of the colour of my skin and the colour of his skin. I would have been seen as the aggressor to even approach that. So I already knew I had to approach that in a way that wasn't going to see me as the aggressor. And because I'd had a few drinks, I didn't think that could happen. So I spoke
You
to
could
her.
have. You could have done that.
Do you know what
Done
I'm
it in the
saying?
style of jazz dance. Or musically, I couldn't help but notice you grabbed her ass. You bad man, no. But they could then have started
Bad man,
rapping.
you bad man, you grabbed her
Could have done
ass.
it. Yeah, I'm from Kettering. You know, I wear a ring, and you're probably wondering. Vote for me, Jonathan Prince, MP for St Albans, 2030. Was your missus impressed? Did she go, "You are a good man. You're looking at waitress ass to take care of her all time"?
That's exactly what she said.
Is that basically what happened? She didn't go, "What are you looking at her backside for?" No, it's a man touching.
But no, it's a good night, man. There was nothing like it. It was amazing.
He sang that 12 times though. It's like Danny Minogue. It's his one hit.
What was Danny Minogue's hit then?
Don't know. The Locomotion, probably.
There you go. There you go. Big up for today. Put comments in the box, peeps.
Yeah.
Obviously, John asked a question earlier. Say what you think.
Yeah, balls or belly. And also, if anything I've said has upset or offended anyone, they just got to get over it.
Have a good gig, buddy. And he's John Ryan.
Jonathan Prince, future MP for St Albans, 2030.
Together, man, we can sort out the government. Big up.
Take care.
Peace.
No lie, resonating, vibes in